Yeah, hello, welcome back. In the last session, we understand how to deal with the default value in the context, right? So in this session, we are going to understand with complex data with a context. Okay, normally, so far we just added like a string or a number or something. So let's understand how to add a array of information or object information in the context. So it's similar because how you store a number or the string or a boolean, you can store arrays and objects as well. And here one interesting thing is okay how to connect to the state also. Okay, let's just walk through the code and so that it's easier to understand what we are talking. So as we have a structure like app component ABCD, and we have two contexts. One is the theme context, and as another one is the user context. We, with the help of theme context provider, we have just wrapped this context on top of app component, and we have wrapped this user context provider to the component B, so that that context will be available to C and D, and this theme context will be available for all the components in the app component. So let's jump into the code and see. So right now, okay, we are focusing on user context, and this is the provider where we have provided, and we are just consuming that in the component D. So here, so we just provided a string so that instead of that, if you provide any numeric value, suppose, that is also you can read while you are consuming. Okay, it's working at the same time, not only a number or a boolean or something. Okay, you can store array of information. So here I'm just taking an array, like constant, suppose user. There's a user context, that's why I'm just taking the users. Suppose the array, and so okay, right now, so yesterday Novak Djokovic won 23rd Grand Slam. It's awesome. So he just crossed Nadal and Federer. Okay, that's awesome. Like if you know, if you're following tennis, I hope you enjoyed already. So here I'm just providing the details of that top three tennis players in this current generation. So Djokovic, my favorite is like Federer. Federer, of course, I love everyone. Nadal as well, and Djokovic. Uh, suppose these are the user details. Okay, suppose if you want to read that information, okay, you can store in the context. So users. So what will happen? So if you store it, so this context is going to store that user's information. Users, that's users array. Okay, and all the children of that particular component where you have just wrapped the provider, they can access that information. So right now we are trying to read that information from the component D. So that is like we have used a use context hook, and we just mentioned the what is the context name so that you will get the value. So now here we are getting the users details. So if you see, this is an array, so that value of 0, it will display Federer. Okay, Federer. And if you go with a value of 1, it will display Nadal, right? And if you go for 2, this will be a Djokovic. Okay, big congratulations to Djokovic. You're awesome. Definitely, still you have lots of time in your career, so that hopefully you can reach 30 as well. Because anyway, Federer has retired, and Nadal is facing some problem with fitness. Hopefully, definitely he will come back very soon. Okay, apart from that, tennis, like, okay, this is like we can store users information, this information. At the same time, suppose if you want to store array of objects, so that let's store that information in a beautiful manner. So here I'm just taking like a user ID. Hopefully you are aware of what I'm doing. So user ID and username. Provide and the country, like number of grand slams. Okay, number of grand slams. So Federer completed his career with 20 grand slams. And next Nadal and Djokovic. So Nadal is a king of clay. And, actually, Federer is king of grass courts. Actually, and Nadal especially on hard courts like synthetic courts. But of course, these are the legends. So Nadal at 22 and Djokovic yesterday only got a 23rd title. It's awesome. So how to consume this information? So here we are providing that users information. This is array of objects. So here it's simple. So even you can, instead of values, you can say, if you know already it's a user context, so that okay, users of 0 dot the username. So it will display. And you can mention okay, how many grand slams he won. Uses of 0 dot number of grand slams. I hope I have given a proper spelling. So Federer 20, and you can so otherwise you can map those details. You can display in a proper way. So let me add users dot map. Okay, user dot map. Hey, it's an array. Users dot map. I'm just going h1 tag or h2 tag is good. Fine, that's fine. These sorry. So we just map it. Just h2 tag. And just add this information. User dot username, because you are getting details. At the same time, you can write user dot number of grand slams. So now you can remove this one so that we can display all the three details. Hopefully it will work. Let's see. So see Federer 20 and Nadal 22 and Djokovic 23. Okay, we have given styles. Styles. That's why it is coming in the same row. Otherwise, it will display in the next line. You can adjust with the CSS. So far you understand, right? You understand. So you can store any data type. Like you can store number, string, boolean, arrays, and at the same time objects, array of objects, and even you can store functions, whatever it is. Okay, so whatever you can store in a use state, okay, whatever you can store in a use state, you can store that in a context. Okay, and you can consume that context information with the help of use context. Okay. Here one more thing is there, so far I just in a component B, I'm storing this in a simple array. So instead of that, you can store that information in a state, and you can pass that state information to that context. What I'm telling you here, so what you can do, just do constant. This is very important. This is very important. So I'm just taking too much time to explain all these things because every topic is very important. So you should learn each and everything in React. So it will take some time to be expert, but once you understand these concepts, you will enjoy working with React. Otherwise, it will be a problem. So here, users, comma, set users. Okay. Here I can say users info of initial values. Okay. So if you store the information in the state and you can attach that state to the context. So now what is happening here? What is happening here? So you are maintaining some state in the context in the component B, and the same state, because you are providing this user context, right? Same state, you are providing that reference to the context as well. That means you are storing this component B state information into the context. This is interesting, right? So now what happening? Suppose if you do any changes to this state, automatically how many places you have used that context, so everywhere it is going to reflect, that's the concept. So maybe you can come back like Amazon. Okay, how that cart is working, okay. Now you will understand at least basics. Suppose we are storing the information in the context, and we are going to attach that context to the root component called app component. Okay, and we will store this cart information in a state. We'll store that cart information in the state. So whatever the changes you will do for this cart information, so from anywhere in the component tree you can access it. Okay. Okay, but of course, once we understand the reducer, okay, why we need to learn reducer and all those things, we are going to learn in coming sessions. So once you understand the reducer, yes, we are going to build cart. Okay, we are going to, already we have done a product listing page, right? So once you click on cart, we are going to store that information in the context, and from that context, again, if you go to the checkout page, and we are going to read the information from the cart, from the central location. Okay, either you can deal with the redux as well. So everything we are going to learn in a step by step. So if a, right now we have a state in the component B, and I'm just providing that state to the user context provider, so that all the components which are there in this component tree, like this is the component B is the parent, and so C can access it and D can access it, right? That's state information. So if you do any changes to the state, automatically it will reflect on all the places. Okay, that, okay, I'm going to cover in a next video, because I need to set up a proper example so that it is going to be easy. So now in this video, what we understand that we can store numbers, booleans, and the strings, at the same time arrays or objects, array of objects. Even you can store functions, whatever the valid information, you can store it. At the same time, if the information is there in the state of that particular component where you are just wrapping that, so you can provide that information also to this. So if you see, still, because we are passing information of that the local state to the context, so now that information will be available for all the component. Still you can see the information. Suppose if you do any changes here, suppose username Federer, suppose Djokovic, you can say winner something. So it should display. Yeah, it is not reflected. Yeah, now you are able to see that. So that means you can attach state information to the context. Okay, so we are very close to learn redux and reducer, and to build the cart page of Amazon. So hopefully you are doing practice. Please do practice. Without practice you can't learn anything. So of course, I'm explaining each and every topic in detail. It will take time, but that's worth to invest your time now. okay, definitely you will get better results in coming days. Thank you, and see you in the next session. The next session, okay, we are going to understand so how to you just understand how to connect the local state to the context, and what will happen if you do any changes to this state, what will happen, and how to update the context. Okay, right now we are just consuming it, right? We need to update the context as well. So is there any direct way, or if not, okay, how to deal with that? We'll learn in the coming sessions. Okay, that's all for today, and see you in the next session. Bye bye.